now to welcome one of the speakers that the President mentioned in his speech there. It gives me great pleasure to welcome Ahti Heinla to the stage. Ahti is the co-founder and CTO of Starship Technologies, and he's also one of the original developers of Skype. Ahti, the floor and Starship is yours.
All right, good to meet you, everybody. And we are also, as I understand, you're welcoming also this guy here onto the stage. And you know, Ahti Heinla is me. This is not Ahti Heinla. This is one of my creations, so to speak. So now for something a bit different. And I'm presenting you one of the startups, that has come from out of Estonia and has been actually supported by a number of people here in this room as well. And that is yes, and that is Starship Technologies. We are building delivery robots just like this. So I'm going to be telling you a little bit of a story of what this is about. So delivery. Obviously, people like delivery. We all get delivery from Deliveroo and from various other players, and that it seems that it kind of works. But there is a problem. There's actually a big problem in delivery that the companies in delivery and the investors investing in delivery have definitely understood, and that is that the unit economics is actually really challenging in last mile delivery. Consumers like to get something delivered, but they don't like to pay what it really actually takes. And that has also been a reason why some of the companies in the delivery space have not done very well recently because of the increasing labor costs, essentially. So the labor-driven costs of delivery are overall going up. Consumers do not want to pay for that. Robots to the rescue. So it is easy to say, of course, that robots to the rescue, but your first robot's actually going to be really expensive. If you build a robot, you try to build a robotic solution with anything, then at first it's easy to say it's going to be lower cost than human, but it takes a lot of years of work to actually get there. So at first, for example, when Starship started doing the first deliveries, we had people walking with each robot just to make sure everything was safe. Obviously, that couldn't be a lower cost than a human courier operation, right? That was more than a human courier cost. But long ago, we do not have that anymore. We have optimized our costs to the level where it really works. The service really works. We have really grown up. And our cost per delivery is now lower than the labor-driven cost for the human courier. And it's going down all the time. And we're actually targeting like $1, $2, per delivery. So we are democratizing last mile delivery. We are enabling business models that were not possible before. Now, this also sounds, very high level and very sort of easy to say, okay, let's build robots, let's develop this tech, let's make it mature. But not many companies in robotics have actually been able to make their solutions mature. It's easy to build a prototype in robotics nowadays, but robotics in real world has lots of different challenges, and we have solved these challenges. We have grown up, and we are now operating in 55 different locations around the world. We launched commercial operations in 2018, so we have been at it for 5 years, offering reliable commercial services that you can rely on. You can rely on our robots getting your food or your groceries to you. But what are some of the challenges? So in particular, for autonomous tech, one of the big challenges is the weather. Also, self-driving cars work pretty well already in like demo situations in places where the sun is always shining and so forth, but they haven't taken over the whole world in all of the climates and all of the cities yet. And weather is definitely one of the challenges. We have solved the weather. We also were operating in a test mode in 2016. Now we operate in all weather, be it rain, be it also in the darkness, obviously, because a lot of the time also people want delivery during the evening time when it is dark, right? So we have solved that as well. And also snow. We are operating actually in a number of places where there is a lot of snow. We just launched in 6 cities in Finland during the last month. We are launching a couple of more cities in Finland in the next week. There is some extreme weather in the places where we operate. This is also part of the picture. This is also some of the things that you need to solve if you want to make like practical robotics that really works in everyday life, right? And all of that has been made possible by a lot of experience that we have had in driving. How much experience have we actually had in driving? Just to put things into perspective, you know, like the leading self-driving car companies have driven about 1 million miles with their autonomous cars. On the left side here, you see some of the news. We have actually done 10 million kilometers, so 6 million miles with our robots. And our robots are actually smaller and slower, so it takes actually much more time. So that is because we are in the 55 locations and we're doing deliveries. We're doing thousands and thousands of deliveries, millions of deliveries all the time. So we're clocking up these miles and kilometers, and that really helps the AI and machine learning in our robots to get better all the time. That is actually what drives the statement that I did, that we are actually reducing our costs, 30–40% every year. That is made possible by the data that we gather. So it's kind of a flywheel that we have commercial operations that gets us data, that helps us improve, that gets us even more commercial operations and more partners and so forth. So I mentioned partners. Why do we need partners? Because we are offering a service of automating delivery. We are automating the movement of things in the world. We are automating urban logistics. Our customers are companies that need deliveries to be done. And these are companies like Co-op in UK and Grubhub in the US. And we actually have an important partner announcement also in the next couple of days that I'm not saying today yet. But there are some of the customers that buy deliveries from us. We essentially supply the robotic delivery service. But enough about just talk. I will actually show you how this works. So this is actually a replay of an actual day that we had. Actually, this is in UK. This is Northampton. This is sped up right now, so robots actually don't drive that fast. But this is similar. It's actual route that the robot took. And every time there's a delivery, this robot makes an orange flash. It should be happening about now in this video. Wow, a delivery done. One delivery done. Okay, this is morning time, so Northampton is just waking up, right? But this is speeding up a little bit. They're home. Okay, there's another robot doing delivery. This is a Co-op store here where they're sort of nesties, right? But now we zoom out. You see, this is not just one robot. This is not just 2 robots or 5 robots or something like that. Northampton gets their groceries with our robots. And if you zoom out, there's actually about 30, 40, 50 robots in Northampton doing deliveries. And we're doing hundreds of deliveries every time. We're not building just this one robot that is on stage here right now. We're building a whole system for autonomous logistics at scale. And this is only one of the 55 locations that we have launched so far. And we have built this commercial service that really works with robots delivering stuff to the people. And people are happy with the service and they love the robots. So you can see, this is kind of, at scale. This is not a prototype anymore. But it's boring to look at maps. Let's look at actually what the robots actually see. So this is actually Northampton. This is actually the same city that I showed you on the map, And this is just a random, time in a robot. I think this was recorded, a few months ago. I think that a robot is driving, on a random street in Northampton, and we specifically selected this to be like completely random. This is not like some special or spectacular place or something like that. This is stuff that our robots see all the time. You see, robots actually are a little bit faster than the pedestrians, It just moves around just like pedestrians do. It like crosses roads and so forth. So it pauses now. Here there's a street. It looks left and right, and then decides to cross the road. And okay, there's a pedestrian, so it avoids or swerves a little bit. And it's all automatic, of course. It's all autonomous in there. And there's tons of technology in the robots. I mentioned crossing the roads. This is actually an important part of the robot's journey because they need to be observing the traffic. And we have lots of sensors in there. some of them bought from our investor TDK. Then the robots are observing the world, and they're tracking the movements of vehicles. For example, I'm showing you that right now the front video, but this car came from behind, so it actually needs to use radars to look behind of it and cameras to look behind the robot as well. So, so now essentially the robot is in the middle of a road crossing, and it's programmed to be cautious. It looks like okay, there's no traffic around, so now it does the does the delivery, and this is something that our robots do all the time. Like, our robots do 150,000 road crossings per day. I've now showed you during this video, 2 road crossings, right? During my talk here right now, how long have I spoken? 15 minutes, 10 minutes, right? During that time, our robots have probably done thousands of crossings in the real world, right? While I'm showing you the video of doing 2 crossings, right? So this is really a machine. This is really working on a commercial scale. This is one location in the US where you see that people just treat these robots as completely normal. This is part of their everyday lives. In these 55 locations where we operate, people really, they just, they are accustomed to the robots. They live in this 21st century where robots are bringing things to them. So this is super normal. This is super normal for them. Like for these people who live in these 55 locations, this is just part of everyday life. Kids love robots. Families get their dinner, using robots. But people who do not live in these 55 locations, they still think this is like a science fiction, and this is maybe not yet, but it is actually today. It is actually right now, and we are scaling up. So we have reached to the point where our cost per delivery is lower than the human courier. That is a big milestone, because that actually enables commercial expansion. In this industry, you've seen probably lots of like drone delivery companies, for example, and I think none of them are at any sort of scale. But it's easy to do some trial deliveries, but we are the only company I think in this space that has really grown up, and we are scaling up, and we are essentially making operational profit with our deliveries. It doesn't cost us money to expand, and we expand with a bunch of partners, with lots of different partners. Pretty exciting big partnerships. GrabHub, these are like world-class names, right? And these Sodexo, Compass Group, Chartwells, these are the big food service providers that are providing food services, in particular to US college campuses, which is actually an interesting market for us as well. Also interesting to talk about the capital perspective. There's all investment professionals, here. You might think, okay, this autonomous tech, this is actually really capital intensive, and how does it work? It's definitely less capital intensive to do these small robots than to do self-driving cars. I mean, self-driving cars have had billions of investment and are not a commercial reality yet. We have, done essentially right now 170 million so far, and it took only 2 million to do the prototype. It took only 2 million investment to do our first delivery, and it has taken the next 170 million that we have raised to build this into a commercial reality that really works in any weather. Is just something that works, and that can be scaled, and the cost is lower than the cost of a human courier. We're not cash flow positive yet, but we will actually get there pretty soon. We are essentially raising the last 30 million. Most of that's committed already. We're actually doing a round right now, but this would actually be our last round. So in this whole journey, we are actually pretty close already to the point where it is cash flow positive, which is actually really hard to get to in robotics. Robotics, I think, is overall a field where it is relatively easy to get the prototype out, but then a lot of companies fail at really commercializing this and scaling this up. And this has actually been possible with the help of a number of corporate VCs that we have had, or that have invested in the company. So particularly corporate VCs have actually seen that sort of thing that we are doing as particularly significant or relevant. I think probably that a lot of these companies, they are used to maybe different from like a traditional sort of tech VC. A lot of the corporate VCs have a lot of experience, you know, building things in the physical world, and they realize how significant it is that what Starship has built. So, and I'm also thankful for also these investors and these partners that have helped us not just with capital, but with their know-how as well. So, I think that's pretty exciting stuff that we are doing. We are the only company really in this all of that autonomous space that has broken through to this real commercial operations, and we have a lot of these robots now. We have thousands of robots. We are making more. The robot, from a capital perspective, of course, you know, the business model here is that robots are manufactured using asset-backed financing, not equity financing. And we are just multiplying and, you know, scaling up right now, and we are announcing one important new partnership also tomorrow. Thank you. I think I'm out of time. I can talk a long time about Starship, but I think I'm out of time. Thank you.